My guest today on Never Ever Give Up Hope is Michaell Magrutsche. Michael's dyslexia and dysgraphia, which is hand-eye coordination, forced him to develop an awareness of seeing the world purely from a human perspective. Creating art completed his awareness of what it is to be human, our habitat nature, and how to be the steward for our habitat and next generations. During his interview, you will be challenged and inspired to become the best you that each of us can be for yourself. You do not want to miss this interview.
Have you ever felt like giving up, quitting, throwing in the towel? Welcome to Never Ever Give Up Hope featuring Carol Graham. She's an author, health coach, and motivational speaker. Backed into a corner multiple times in her life, Carol shares with you stories on how she overcame some of the toughest obstacles a person can go through in life, but refused to give up hope. Rather than admit defeat, an opportunity was presented, and it involves each and every one of you. Carol will feature spectacular guests who will share their messages of hope, encouragement, and their inspiration to prove why life's adversities only make you stronger. And now, welcoming the host of the show, here's Carol Graham.
Michaell Magrutsche is an Austrian, Californian artist, awareness, creativity educator, speaker, and author of 5 books related to art. He is an advocate for helping understand neurodiversity. Now, there's lots of questions in there I believe that my audience is going to have just from that intro. So let's start first of all, Michaell. Welcome and tell us your backstory.
I'm so glad I'm here. Thank you, Carol, for giving me a canvas to paint. I was born in Vienna, Austria, and I was a sick child. And they helped me back, and I went to school with 7. And I found out in school very quickly that I am not be the person that can regurgitate content. I couldn't read. I stuttered.
Mm,
I have
mm,
and in Europe you're going to be held back. So I was like, 15 with 12-year-olds. And then I couldn't repeat grades anymore. And then I just had to say, okay, when the system doesn't know what to do with an individual, they say, okay, do whatever you need to do. But you can't repeat the class anymore. In retrospect, I would have probably waited till 9 and then did homeschooling. That would, in today's time, this was 40 years ago. In today's times, it would be hold that kid back till he can catch himself, and then homeschool him. But then I wouldn't have learned the social skills, because I had to 100% rely on my social skills. After the school debacle that I couldn't do, I had to do all kinds of odd jobs. And I was always drawn, like all the adolescents are, to music and art. And that kind of kept me in the loop, basically, in the human loop.
hmm.
And so I taped, I was a DJ. I sold tapes out of my trunk. I produced fashion shows. I went into advertising. I, was one of the, first people that did digital media, like
Really?
videotape. Yeah, in Europe, 40 years ago.
Oh, okay,
Uh,
okay.
so, and I did that, and then I, when I was about 30, I did all kinds of stuff, and then when I was 22, I moved to America because it was too systemic. You had to have a title That's why you have in Russia all the cab drivers, the doctors. You had to systemically have a degree, have at least a high school diploma or whatever, and I didn't have that. So I went to America not because I think I will keep it there, but more that I found that I knew in school there's something new that I'm going to America and check it out, but not more than that. It wasn't like a big insight and America is that. So I went when I was 18 the first time here with friends, traveled West Coast to East Coast, and then I found out that wasn't enough. I wasn't finding what I was looking for. And then like 2 years later, like when I was 22 or 3 years later, I got a job. I got a job offer basically in Boston and in LA. And for some reason, I was attracted to the LA, even though I hated LA when I first visited. And so I don't know how I chose that, but still LA was the thing. And so then I, traveled around, did odd jobs, did whatever I could do. I mean, I started as a houseboy and butler, and then I worked into the new deregulated UHF television industry. And then so by 30, I had to do another resume, and I couldn't believe it. Like everything was art. So that was a pivotal decision at that time where I saw it. I said, listen, I'm not a famous artist. I'm not a thing, but art was basically saving my life. And I couldn't be an accountant because I couldn't do school.
Good
For
point.
me, I was an artist because of default, logical default. And not like what people say. Is usually, you create something and the society says, oh, you're an artist, therefore you're deemed to be an artist. And that was not in my case. And I know a lot of famous artists that are still thinking, hey, I'm not seeing myself as an artist. So because it's given, you're not deciding it or recognizing it. And it's actually only in the recognition of self that you can be an artist, because it doesn't matter what systemically, how good you are. It's like saying, Carol, you're a great woman for me and you, but in the system, you're not the best woman that you can be. This is what disturbs us so much, this viewing humanity through systemic values. And so I called myself an artist when I was 30. And then I wrote 5 books because I was also Arts Commissioner of Newport Beach. I worked with Robert Evans, who did The Godfather, and I lived in his house and worked with him. But it wasn't fulfilling. None of that was fulfilling. I thought it was. And this is what I learned. When you think something is systemically promoted as, oh my God, this is all, I want to be Beyonce, I want to be Jay-Z, I want to be Frank Sinatra. It's not like it seems. It's not like it's sold from the systems to you. When you work for 30, 20, 10 years for a goal, I want to be Sinatra, I want to be Elvis Presley, I want to be Beyonce, I want to be all these people, the success. I want to be Elon Musk, right? So when you look at that, and let's say all the cards of going your way, and then you arrive there, and then you realize it's not what I expected it to be. It thought it will give me fulfillment. It gives you a short jolt of fulfillment, because
of course,
you did it,
right?
But it doesn't fulfill your life at all.
One thing I want to ask you, just back up 2 questions actually. First of all, you said that you were working with somebody that did the Godfather. What do you mean by that?
Robert Evans was the longest chief of Paramount. He created Love Story, Rosemary's Baby, Godfather 1, 2. Endless.
Okay.
Popeye.
Okay.
So in case, I thought he was such a legend that was great. And he invited me to live and co-produce something with him.
Okay.
So that's why. So I did all this and
Right.
all these art related things. So I
Yes,
said,
yes.
like for my first book was, or second book was Dangerous Blood. It was a screenplay that was already in pre-production, but then he passed away. Yeah, that was the first. This was the first. The Dangerous Blood was the first book because I read so many scripts while I was with Robert that
Mm,
I thought I have a story to tell. And I kind of put in perspective how hard it is to write a script, and so I realized that I got to write that down. So basically, I learned while writing,
mm.
and so the other books I wrote was because when I was arts commissioner of Newport Beach, I saw how art was placed completely wrong. It was all about, let's get the financing for this artwork,
Good
let's get
point.
the donation, and then
Right.
put it in the sell off somewhere. It's like
Yes.
it was. So there was no sense, but they thought the a foundation or a museum, if they contributed to create that piece of art wherever it's going to go in the city, that's it. And nobody really. The most important thing is to expose people to art and to have it in the best form that you can expose it. Like in a gallery, you're not going in a gallery and the art lays on the floor.
Would you say it was lacking passion then, the motive?
It was no, it's so funny that you asked that. It wasn't lacking passion because the passion was there, but the passion went in the systemic.
Mm,
We had a goal. We achieved the goal. We got the financing. We erected that statue, but it wasn't the human centric way. What should art do in the first place?
I see.
To inspire us, right? To bewitch us, to engage us, to make us, give us a sense of aesthetics. And it was so, we are so system. And I haven't thought of this before unless you asked that, because I didn't know it went so far back. The awareness that I have now about system relevant living versus human centric living, and we are all run by money, and so we want to just get it over with to go to the next thing because our money runs out. We're living in a continuous lack. I mean, every business that you create has the energy of lack built in it, because you have a first quarter and you get a little bit of fulfillment when you hit the goal or surpass the goal. Then you have a second one. It starts over and over because a static thing cannot survive if you don't start over again. That's why we have wars. That's why we have economic crisis. You need to crash it or start from the beginning to keep a static thing going. But humans are exponentially growing, and these most systems, as you see, they're all collapsing right now. They're outdated. They're not bad. I'm not against systems at all, but the unawareness that we need systems, but we need to have them human centric versus human sacrifice and submit to them. What you say is a symptom of what we do. So the cause is you're the best person that you can be, the best human that you can be, and not for you or not for anybody else, but for me. By that, if I can be the best Michael that I can be with my neurodiversity, with my sickness, with all that stuff, then I fulfill my part
Okay.
of the whole and help every human being on this planet. Because we are all interlinked. We are 8 billion people that are all interlinked. And I can show you how. If you and I start singing right now, 8 billion people will understand it. They might not like it, but they will understand it. If it's a happy song or it's an angry song or it's whatever. So we have a language. We have 6 senses. 6 means if you resonate with somebody or not. So we have 6 senses, and we have a language that is for 8 billion people, one language. Because if I even draw something with you. Every one of those, unless they're blind, but everybody else will understand what this is, or will have an emotional effect on it, and uses. That's why art is so important, because you use your six senses. You're forced to use it, especially when you're not understanding. When you categorize, this is a cat, then it's a cat. There's not much more, because you don't even give it more attention. But if I make something and you look at it, and by looking, you're going into your logic in your mind, and then you go back in your senses, and you find out, oh my God, this is a cat. I didn't see that. And that's fulfillment. That
Okay. Okay.
discovery is fulfillment. And it's wonderful. But we don't give that any attention. We don't give wisdom any attention, even though wisdom is higher than any knowledge, any system knowledge, linear knowledge. We don't give it attention, and not because we're mean, and not we are greedy, and we are hungry. We are just unaware. You can't blame somebody that is unaware.
Right. Exactly. Right. So I wrote down a quote from you, and I'd like you to explain it to the audience, please. How does this affect man-made systems like technology, science, economy, and generalized knowledge to change systems to be more human adaptable?
The awareness first. You have to be aware in the situation that you are. If you are a fish, you have to be aware that your environment is water. If you're a human, you have to be aware that the habitat that you are living in a city like New York, for example,
Okay.
is an artificial habitat with its own rules, own culture, own ways of life. But that's not humanity. What you see on news, for example, is system disturbed humans that do disturbed system stuff. So you see, not Carol and Michael, have a great interview, and they had a great. Nobody cares about that in media. People will care about it, but not in media. But if you call me anything, I get crazy, tear my clothes off. We are in media. Now look at this. If we do that every day, nobody looks at media.
Yeah.
So it wants the lot. This is, and everybody links to media because we are by DNA inclusive, and we get a false perspective of what it is to be human. We say all human are bad, and doing podcasts. I think you have 300 episodes or something. You mean all the people, or most of the people, we're like what you read on or see in media? No, humans are benevolent, they're inclusive, and they can adjust with the six senses to each other, to all 8 billion people. And it's harmony and balance. We are part of nature. We can harmonize with those six senses and adapt.
So where does somebody start to become more aware?
Listen to this interview. There's really nothing to do in awareness. You just keep listening just repeat it, or listen to others of me. You get aware by listening. There's no steps. There's no, because that's instantly systemic. And I know sometimes systemic steps help you become aware, because when, for example, women are not equal treated, even though they are equal by nature, or races or sexualities,
right,
you can't make that systemically right. You cannot make war systemically right. That has to come from human. That is a systemic problem. A war, it's run by systems, and the system tries to make it better, and it costs only more money and more people dying, 300,000 in the current war, and it's just a complete waste of life energy. And you need to have the awareness, because you're not aware that the beggar and the billionaire are using the whole energy to think, the billionaire to keep them, they both think about lack of money. The billionaire to keep his lifestyle, and the beggar to get some money. It's if the system was perfect, that wouldn't happen. It would be just one. It wouldn't be both, because the system says either or, right? Win or lose. So the billionaire should be totally fulfilled, but billionaires and millionaires kill themselves.
Exactly. No,
because they live that false system dream. When you get to that goal, everything will be fine, and it's worth to sacrifice you. That's a advertising for give us your life force in the systems.
that really puts it into perspective. I thank you for that. That was a very good explanation. We're going to take a quick 15-second break, and when we come back, we definitely are going to continue our conversation and also want to talk about your podcast and what you have coming up. We'll be right back.
Carol Graham would like to show you the path from misery to miraculous triumph in her fast-paced memoir, Battered Hope. She relates her determination to succeed as someone who experienced one horrendous nightmare after another. Gang raped and left for dead, loss of a child, husband falsely imprisoned, and cancer. Nothing could break her tenacity or faith. No matter what you face, heartache, loss, suffering, or injustice, Carol will illustrate how she became a victor the same way you can. The secret is to never, ever give up hope. Order your copy at Amazon or batteredhope.blogspot.com.
Continuing our conversation on Never Ever Give Up Hope today with Michaell Magrutsche. This has been really interesting, definitely stimulating, and I just want to know if you could, Michaell, just maybe bring some clarity to people who have not yet grasped what you are trying to share with us.
Yeah, if I could do this in a little paragraph, it's like because I could not fit into systems, I found that life is not just, a system. Its system is a man-made habitat, because we are human-centrically, means we are a collaborative creator animal of nature that, in my thesis, is self-aware, not because it's the best and it's, nothing counts and nothing else counts. It is self-aware that if I show you how to cut those trees, and then, I make a little hut out of it, that you can repeat that. And ultimately it will be, because we expand and grow, a city like New York, Singapore, or Google, or Apple. That's why we are self-aware, because we are collaborative creator animals. We're not creator animals by ourselves, which is, it's so weird. When you are going in the woods and being by yourself on sabbatical, you're still not being alone, because you talk to yourself. We all talk to ourselves. We are such a social animal that even when alone, we are in communication. So we need that. We need that other human. We need that other person. And if we don't have it, we talk to ourselves.
I like that. That's good.
And yeah, and then the system relevant stuff is, how do I navigate in a dollhouse or in a Monopoly game we created, but that isn't nature. It has other rules, other regulations. What's important is in a system is not important in nature. What's important in nature, system has to do just the minimum to fulfill that. And our teeter-tottering between being actually a human-centric human, a collaborative, a part of nature, collaborative creator animal, and then teeter-tottering in, okay, we have feelings, we like somebody, we have sexual urges, we have passion, and we bring that into a completely artificial environment that we created. So the teeter-tottering costs a lot of energy. But if you're aware of it,
Absolutely. Yes.
but if you're aware of it, we're playing, and I'm not saying, I said that Monopoly game can keep continuing. We can play Monopoly. We all, play games, but that isn't life. Life is not supposed to be, I have to have them, I have to be valuable, system relevant in the Monopoly game, like Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos. It's not required from you, because by nature, by your existence, you are worthy. In nature, nature doesn't make 2 million elephants. It just doesn't. Everything is always balanced. Also, nature doesn't get out of balance. If it goes out of balance, it adapts. Everybody is in touch with each other, and it constantly adapts, and harmony is the result. If a tribe runs out of food, they move somewhere else to get their food. And humanity in system relevance, more. There's only one rule. It has to be more, better, and so on. And the problem with that is unnatural, because in nature, you have a harvest that is great, and then you have a harvest that isn't good. And you have to be that balanced that the harvest that isn't good eradicates you. In the system relevance is only one, more, better, or cheaper. Which the cheaper, which is the recent thing, I can give you so much for nothing. That is essentially suicide, because a system that is ruled by financial principles that need to be always more, and you go cheaper, is pushing the money from one side to the other. It creates imbalance. And money is the greatest invention. Please don't think I'm against money. Money is the greatest invention after the wheel and fire. But financial principle and other system is completely outdated. That I think the only chance we have to is, first of all, be aware of it. And your episode does that. And then allow each one that listens to that episode fill in their thought forms, and we are all interconnected. So we actually say, hey, we're gonna solve that because we are limitless. We created all this stuff.
Good point. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
The fear of AI is completely unworried, because it's not AI. It's the human unaware. It's the human that would misuse. It's like bringing a bucket with razor blades and hand grenades under the school playground, under the kindergarten playground. We have maturity, and maturity is not like system relevance wants to teach you how much money or power you have or how many followers you have. Maturity is when you know that your child, adolescent, your adult is one, and we moved in this place of time space, and we are aware of ourselves that we are one of one, and that's why we are one of one, and hone your senses and experience the moment, and not be in mind construct what happens in 10 years and what happened in
Exactly.
in the past.
Yes. Now, you made a statement I'd like you to expound a little bit on. I mean, you have touched on it, but even a bit more. And that is, we have today such an overabundance of goods and services that we have become incapable of consuming.
Perfectly. You are great. This is going to be my favorite episode. No, this is absolutely great, because it's the follow-up on what I said. It's if everything is more, and if the system only goes in one direction, our system relevance and system relevant life goes only in the monopoly into more, better, faster. It's also accelerating the lack, because everyone, we talked about it, everybody is born with a lack, because they're born in a system. They're born in a hospital, go to school, go to get a job. Those are all systems. Is religious, goes in religion, is political party. Those are all systems, and that's the problem. There is so much. The time accelerates because every system is based on financial principles, and so the system are competing and about survival, and they're competing about who gets religious thing, you say, oh my God, we're running out of money. Even nonprofit needs money. It's financial principles. And it's more and more and more. It doesn't need enough. And so there is no, because they took out of nature what is enough. There's a very strong feeling of what is enough in nature. That is completely, we got reconditioned in systems that the factor of enough isn't there. So we keep pushing more. And basically, we have adapted, which is our third superpower. First is creativity. Second is human dialogue, what we're doing now, not system dialogue. I'm better, you are worse. It's just human dialogue where both fill in the blanks for each other. And the third is adaptability. So we have adapted ourselves so much that we believe that we are the best creator animals. We're really standing up to our natural human relevant cause of collaborative creator animal. Because when you look at artists or anybody today, everybody has a website, everybody has a present, everybody looks like a millionaire. So not only do we pretend to be part of that systemic hierarchy, that everything is okay and we are all the big shots, and everybody wants a leader, nobody wants to be a team member. But we have created so many services, and so perfectly, and AI is going to only make that more perfect. We have done so many services that we don't have the time to absorb that. If I don't find you by chance, I don't think technology had anything to do with it. We saw each other, and I applied, and you responded. So this is, but if the human aspect is out of this, it's nothing.
Right.
So let's say AI is coming, and we say, okay, so AI is going to link us up, and we don't need to check us out even. We trust AI 100%. And then you say, and then we do the thing, but then you have the perfect host, have the perfect, match. But nobody talks about, do I have time to have this interview? Do I have time to prepare for this interview? Can this interview send? Because AI gave me 50 interviews every day. What happened when the computer came on the cell phone? We had 10 letters, a bigger firm had 40 letters. Now everyone gets 150 emails. What AI is going to make this 300, 400 emails a day, and you believe I send them to you, one that you know. You don't have the time that AI saves you to go to digest the products and services that it serves.
Right.
So time is the biggest thing, because it's not, that's system time. It's another system. The system time is not your biorhythm. The system time is not, we adjust the daylight savings. We say, oh, screw that when the sun goes up. We are the system. We are the thing. And you just get up an hour early or an hour later. We completely systemize the humans. And that's why AI will have it so easy, because we are completely unaware of our worth and our limits that we have.
Well, my head is spinning. I'm I'm listening, and I know I'm going to have to listen to this more than once, just as I'm hoping that the audience will do the same. Now tell us about your podcast. What do you discuss there, and what is the theme?
And I want to say to that, what you just said, it's foreign. Once you listen a couple of times, you integrate it, and then it becomes awareness. Okay. It's just it's a foreign language. Right. I'm basically speaking a foreign language to you, because we are and that's a proof to yourself. We are so system conditioned that we only understand system conditioned language. It's like, a doctor speaks their own language, their culture.
Right,
and
I get it. Yep.
Doesn't understand.
Yep.
So my podcast is 30 seconds. I don't want to take a lot of time from you. And also, because of my neurodiversity, I couldn't edit or anything. I could, but it would take, 8 times as long. It takes me a lot of time just making one
Right, I
quotes, and I
understand.
write those. I've written 500 quotes, and I go over them. Till now, I constantly add to them, but I reshuffle them, reword them. So in one quote, I can give you a lot of wisdom
Okay.
and a question, and it's for our first superpower, creativity, and primarily in creativity, art, because art is the purest form of creation because it doesn't have a purpose. So it's not neutered by any way to, okay, there's a purpose of making a new shoe. There's still a shoe. Art is just creating for creation's
Hmm.
sakes. And you allow, art, and art doesn't want anything else but being created and exposed. But it doesn't say you have to have 100,000 followers and you need to sell a piece of art for
Right, right.
$5 million.
And what's the name of it?
Oh, the smart of art, the power of art and creativity.
Okay, excellent. Now, your books. Can you capsulize possibly and just share who should read them and possibly just what they're a little bit about what they're about?
Dangerous Blood, screenplay, very good story, still holds up today. It's because it's a human-centric story. It's
Okay.
not a systemic story. Um, the How to Place Public Art and all kind of art. You see certain blurbs on websites how to hang a picture or something, but there's no collective information source how to do public art, regular art, your art at home, and how to look at art. So I made that's how to hang public art and all
Okay.
other art. And then the other one is I did 300. It's called Imagination, 300 paintings in 3 days. I did a project. I did 300 paintings in 3 days, abstract, obviously, because I'm neurodiverse. But it was so wonderful, the revelation that I thought I'm gonna know for like 20 pictures or 50, and then I'm gonna be out, and I want to try it, and I did, and actually the
Oh my
last 10
word.
and the last 10 were the best.
Really?
Yeah, because
Interesting. Okay,
that
okay.
you're opening up to that muscle of like you had an intuition to make a podcast, and your podcast is more and more adapting to who you are, and the same is when you're open, you want to create, so you open that channel between you, the physical, and the non-physical you, because we go into non-physical every night we sleep. So you open that channel, and all of a sudden stuff comes in, and you don't have to even try to control it with your thought. It just comes in. Perhaps that's also being in a moment. And then the next one was a German book about art. And then the last one was The Smart of Art, which is basically got me to all this about system relevance and human centric, where I wanted to figure out why 99% of artists are poor in the world. It's not just specifically to India or America or Europe. Everybody has the same problem. And I dove into it, and I found that the reason is because art product, which is it's the product, is systemic commodity. So if people like it, it's valuable, and you are hailed as an artist. If people don't like, you're not. And the real value is, which you see in me, I have zero education. I'm completely self-taught. I've learned everything from collective art creation with other artists and myself. I mean, the awareness of everything, the human-centric awareness that I got from art is priceless. I couldn't pay for that education.
Well, you've definitely stimulated our thoughts. There's no question there. Now, in conclusion, is there anything that you want to leave with the audience?
What's missing is that look at perspective as more valuable than context. Context is a keyword. It's a keyword. I'm a medical knowledge or a specific, niche. Perspective is everything, because till 50, I hit the wall. And nothing has changed. Not money, no job, no relationships. Nothing has changed of any of those things. Lived in the same house, everything. And just becoming aware of, and more diving in, because it's so exhilarating, because all of a sudden, I'm not wrong. My life isn't wrong. This is what it is. And now I understand why it went the wrong way and why I went the wrong way. And it is that what life are you living? Human-centric or system relevant? And if the human centricity has more value, then the system relevance will be easier. So if I know as a human what my puzzle piece is with you, for example, when I experience that, then it's easier for me to say, okay, the experience that I had with Carol was this, and now I know what I do in systems. I'm not going to be that, or I'm not going to be that, So it's more aligned. And then I could be also, it's more, my system relevance is very, very funny, is my perspective, because nobody has verbalized the perspective like I have. I'm an out of the box thinker, but not systemically out of the box. I'm by nature out of the box because I couldn't fit in the systems.
Right.
And that is my value.
Well, thank you. This has been, again, stimulating and definitely enlightening, and one that we will listen to more than once. I really appreciate, Michael, what you have shared today. And thank you so much for being on Never Ever Give Up Hope.
Thank you for listening to Never Ever Give Up Hope, featuring Carol Graham. Did you know that most people succeed because they are determined to? Quitting was never an option. Carol loves your comments and will respond to each one. So please subscribe and review this podcast. A rating of 5 stars would be outstanding and appreciated. Remember, if you are still here, there is always hope.